Hey guys, it is Ryan Feathers Elite. Pigeon auctions, it's Wednesday. You know what that means? We go to the top. We go like the top of the charts. Remember Casey Kasem? You guys know Casey Kasem, on the hit music. He did all those things and he was sending out stuff. But, anyways, it does not matter. It is Wednesday evening, and this is all about one loft racing. And hey, in the world of one loft racing, this race or this man runs one of the greatest races in the world. Time tested, true. The man grounds them and pounds them. He gets the results. He pays it out, and people come back in, year out. And not only is this race that good, it produces pigeons that win worldwide on a global scale. You guys know me. I am going to switch this over. Let's hope I've got everything right for tonight. Oh, I'm missing my intro. No, the intro's here. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Enjoy One Loft Wednesdays. Don't worry, I turned the volume down for one little move, but hey, we don't have to worry. One's off Wednesdays. Here we go with John Timmerman. My apologies, Johnny T. You are in the house. Welcome for another
Hello,
week.
guys.
3 weeks in a row.
3 in a row, bud. We're on a
Now,
roll.
now we're on a streak. Now we're on a streak. When I was talking to you yesterday, I thought you said you were going out for dinner, and I'm like, oh, he's going out for dinner. But I guess you meant last night or tonight. I don't know. Am I cutting into your dinner tonight, John?
No, no dinner tonight. The wife's she's at work still, so that was last night.
It
Last
was
night.
last night. A question for you. You running this race. When you first started it, like, were you married or were you single, or how did you trip over it and say this is what we're doing?
Well, I was doing the multiple loft races first, and I was single at the time. I had different girlfriends come and go. But that is a good question. When I It was actually brought to me back in 02, 01, 02, to do a one loft race here in San Diego. And that's when I actually started seeing Julie. And
Okay.
and so at that time, just like today, everything was expensive, and we just finished off that VegasRace.com, and I did very well for a few years there, and opportunity came from actually Steve Miner's brother Donnie Miner. Donnie Miner passed away a few years ago. He was also just he had the pigeon bug since he was a kid, and it was actually Steve, Donnie, and his father, Bill Miner, that flew here in San Diego, and Bill passed away 01, 02, and Donnie was the family decided to sell that piece of property, and at the time I was in the trades, I was in the pipe trades, and we just finished a job, and I had asked one of my friends on the job, say, hey, I'll pay you X amount of dollars, and we'll just dismantle this loft in Lemon Grove, which it was about 20 miles away. And at that time, I was still seeing Julie. She thought I was nuts, and that's how it took off. And so I dismantled that loft, and I probably was 02, I think, at the time, because I let it sit for a little bit. And because the way my property was, my property used to be an equestrian ranch, and so there was a lot of up and down. The ground wasn't level, put it that way.
Okay.
So that's where the California Classic. That's why I'm so high off the ground in certain areas, because of the elevation. And anyways, I pieced that loft together, and that was my start. And 20 some years later, here we are.
So
And through that time, Julie, Julie stuck it out, because I think any woman that is with a pigeon guy for X amount of years, they're scratching their head, and my wife will tell you, fuck that. I'm not doing it. Never
Uh,
again, you know? And she's doing it now. I mean, to this day, I have, I've got another place where I race my own pigeons. And Saturdays, I go pick up these birds and I say, hey, I need you to feed them at this time. And, she'll laugh, she'll do it. But, hey, that's, I guess, the opposite sex doesn't realize those of us that are really deep into the pigeons. They got to walk a fine line, because if you love your pigeons, you're out to win. Everything has to be done right, and if it's not, then you're looking at your wife. I mean, back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I didn't know too many men that were with the pigeons married, that they were pretty much on their second or third marriage. And I didn't want to be like that. And I don't plan on being like that. I mean, I think our sport has evolved a little bit more in that sense. But
do you, talking with my dad, I mean, my dad's been married for, I don't know, 50 years or whatever, but he always said that the best pigeon men were pigeon widowers. The guys that, like you said, they had like two or three or four wives, or they didn't have any, and it was just pigeons. And tried to say to girlfriends in the past, you meet a girl and you have pigeons. It's almost like, I don't know about you, but I know me. It wasn't the first thing I told them about me. I tell them about everything else, and the
oh
last
yeah,
thing was like, also I got pigeons, raised pigeons. And then it was like, what? I could have told them I had a Ferrari. I could have told them I was a professional athlete. I could have told them all kinds of things. But as soon as I said pigeons, there was like 900 questions.
oh yeah. I mean, there's no doubt they're intrigued by it right away. And I think on our end, when
Mhm.
they try to understand the principles of racing. I mean, like this is years ago, and the girl, I mean, at the time, I had a riding arena. And so this girl comes to visit and she goes, oh, is that where the pigeons train? I said, I'm looking at her like, what do you mean? She goes, they fly around the arena. I said, oh, you're out. Fuck. I mean, come on. I mean, they fly around the arena. Really? Okay. I mean, people are silly. But it is amazing that a lot of us that have pigeons, people are intrigued by it, and the opposite sex as well. Like, what do you do? What
Do, do,
until they know how much time we put into this.
but I dated girls and they would get extremely jealous because, I mean, like, I'd come home from work. And your girlfriend, oh, okay, we're gonna go to the movies. Okay, yeah, great. We're gonna train the pigeons first. I'm gonna play with the pigeons. I'm gonna do the pigeons. We're gonna go ship the pigeons. We're gonna go, yeah, we're going to the movie, no problem. Saturday morning, get out of bed. I'm not staying in bed with you. I'm watching the pigeons come home. We're going to clock off. Wait, Sunday morning, do you want to go train the pigeons? Come on, I'll buy you coffee 60 miles away. And I found that the women got a little bit jealous of the
Oh yeah,
interest into the pigeons. And it, you know, I say it's better to know what's going on in your backyard than have your guy or what out at bars and doing. I mean, pigeons are harmless, but I find the opposite sex. I mean, maybe I would get jealous too, but they're just a little bit over jealous, and it's funny how some relationships can't handle it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, there's a lot of time that goes into the sport, and especially when you're club racing. Um, you know, back then it was 15, 20, 10, 15 bird limits. Now these guys are flying open limits. So those guys, I don't see them. I don't see a lot of these guys that are going to get in having girlfriends, because there's a lot of time in that respect. Um, but for sure, those that do like it and get involved, I mean, the relationships, it becomes a good deal. It becomes a good teamwork, especially in one loft race. And some of these guys, they have their wives involved, and I think it's great. I think it's, that's
N-
you're
Now,
working on the family.
Now, with your life, and not to pry or not to get in too deep, but your wife, does she help out in regards to certain parts of the race, or do you just is it
My
you keep
my on my wife's side, they've all played a part through the years being involved. And Julie is always, up until last year, we changed it up a little bit, especially when we were at the hotel and stuff. She would always be the one collecting the fees and making sure the checks and balances were done right. So um, in that respect, yes. And then if there's ever an emergency or something, I mean, she's always, she's always there to help and do something or be part of.
now? It's I will say this: you are a real pigeon man, guys. He John Timmerman runs the California Classic. He runs the Royal Cup. You do help out a little bit at the San Diego Triple Crown, a little bit. You're helping out there, but you also have your own pigeons, which I mean, I know after an auction season and taking care of guys' birds and pigeons, I'm sometimes almost up to here where it's almost like I say, I don't need any pigeons. Like I'm at the max of pigeons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But here you are taking care of 2,000 young pigeons every year, going through the sicknesses, dealing with the people, this stuff. And then you still have your own pigeons and you're playing. Now, my question is, why in the world are you still playing with your own pigeons? I mean, you send to one loft races, you run maybe the best one loft race in the world. That's questionable, but I'm a big fan of this race. It's just your track record. I'm sorry. Love you, hate
Well,
you,
for me,
whatever. It is what it is.
I want to
Tell
know
me.
hands-on. If it's a change in products, change in medication, I want to see how it affects the birds. And sometimes there's a trial and error on my own loft before I get into the one loft races. So if I know that I'm having some success, of course, like I've mentioned before, I mean, I got a few other satellite lofts that do very well, and I'm on kind of the same program, and when that is, the proof is in the pudding on your results and what you do. And I can't say that I'm not racing consistent like I used to. Um, I'm usually on 1 or 2 years, and I'll take a little bit of a break. It's not as important as it used to be, because back then, we had auctions, or we flew the Holiday Cup. That was a multiple off race. Now it's just for leisure. It's more for the sportsmanship in our organization, because that's really, it's a good feeling when you have a solid club. And our organization now, we've got quite a few younger guys, and they're learning. And it's good to be part of that. I mean, that's the contribution back to the sport. As far as what I could share to them, and if they got ideas or thoughts that they want to do, that's I try to be available for that.
Do you find in your area a lot of the, and John cuts out? He'll be back on here momentarily. There he is. Don't worry. John, my question to you, and we got a couple comments. We got a couple comments that we are going to put on. Just wait. There he is. You can hear me good, John?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you ever find that the young guys, like the new guys, maybe guys who've had birds a few years, 5 to 10 years, are they intimidated to ask you questions? Do you think they ask enough questions, or are they? Is it easier for them to like? Do you get what I'm saying?
I think when you're involved on a more few-year basis, then there's no problem with asking you questions. Because I could understand, if they come to see my operation, they could get intimidated. But after a few years, um, then they're able to ask me things.
Yeah. So you feel the young guy's still a little intimidated. I think though it's a different. I don't know. It seems to be a different world than it once was, where there were different I guess ethnic people. I mean, I remember in our area, we had guys from England and Ireland and Scotland, and they would come here and they had their accents, and
Okay.
they came to Canada, and they flew pigeons. They flew pigeons where they came from, and they brought that with them. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
stop. I got an intruder.
Uh-oh. Bite. Don't bark, bite. Just bite.
Yeah.
uh, I'll po-
Hey,
I'll post this question by Brian.
fucking dog. Hey.
It's okay. We all have this problem. This is why I like Maine Coon cats. They don't come on,
That'll take
John.
care of it.
Jesus, animal rights is watching us. Don't throw a shoe at the dog. Jeez. All right.
No, I
Brian,
missed.
I know you missed. You don't have good aim. Brian says this. A friend of mine, Steve Lance, his wife was in the hospital having a baby, and he was shipping pigeons. Now, my dad would get coming in. Guys, this happens on the show. John's a popular guy. Guys are sending him birds. If you want to send birds to the California Classic, you can do it. You see the calls are coming in. They're coming in. Why are the calls coming in? Because John's accepting birds. He's declining calls for this show. But John, uh, the day I was born, the day I was born, my dad was racing a race, and my dad went to the club. And my dad walked into the club and he put his clock down. And he told everybody in the club, today I'm a winner. And the guys in the club, you know how pigeon guys are. Well, you can't say that until we open the clocks. And my dad said, no, 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 I've already won the race. No, I've already won the race. It's over. It's done. I beat you all. And guys started getting mad at my dad. But my dad was only playing, right? Well, they opened up all the clocks, and lo and behold, my father won the race on May 29th, 1982. The guy said to the club, how did you know you won the race? My dad pulled out cigars and said, I had a son. He was born this morning.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
my dad didn't care about like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh,
He
yeah.
had already won. So anyways, Brian, don't worry, my dad's on your team. David Tracy from Ohio. David, did you send your birds? Send your birds to John. Oh boy, we got a long comment here. Denny says the California Classic OLR is where legends are born, and only the toughest birds survive. And there's more. Should I even read more of this, John? My reading's not the best, but every mile has heart, endurance, and brains. Conquer the California Classic. You conquer one of the hardest races in the United States. Respect earned, not given. My friends, this man, that should be on a T-shirt that you're selling at your race. What a state! It's true though. Everything
Well,
that this man says, those birds got to do it.
absolutely. There's no denying it. I mean, that's, uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you do it long enough, you don't even phase these things. It's just becomes just, you get up, you do your routine, and you just accept, you just roll with things. That's all you do.
Yeah, but you can see, like, I don't know if you know that gentleman. I'm sure you know of him, but you see what that your race, what you've been doing since the early 2000s, what it means for people.
Oh,
That's
dude,
man.
I
That's
mean,
that's
yeah, I mean, in that respect, I mean, when I get gentlemen that are in their late 70s and they've been following this race and being part of, um, we're all going to get there when we get older, and you know, these guys, trying to conquer it and be on top, and something to look forward to with the breeding aspect. It's not just the winning part. It's being part of something and looking forward to it. That's what it's all about. And then when people come back and tell you that, it's fantastic.
well, I'm gonna say that that's the years that you put in. You can't take that away, and the groundwork, and And actually, I'm good. It's okay for now. And all the years and doing the course and being, I hate to say it, following the guidelines and not breaking. I'm sure you could have picked an easier course, or you could have, there were days that you could have easily said, no, no, we're not going to go. But that's what the man says. It's a legends race. And it is. And there's so many races in the world now. It's losing that Super Bowl feel, that World Series feel, that World Cup feel. You feel that?
I mean, hey, when we fly the California Classic, it's always like the Super Bowl. I mean, that and the Royal Cup, it just always is. Um, you put all this training into it, and the way Mother Nature's been playing out the last few years, it's exciting. I mean, we know those that fly it. We know we could be hit hard. We've been there. We've been there many, many times. So that's where, just because you have a great day doesn't mean you're going to see a lot of birds. Not where we fly.
No, no. But it's an incredible, the consistency that the consistency that yourself, uh, Ron Steinbrenner, and Steve Miner there and Ahmad, the consistency in the races throughout the years. I mean, I will say, I don't think there'll ever be a trio like it. I don't think so.
Um,
I don't know if there can be one
It's
with the
not so much.
panache.
It's what it is that we're sometimes as people we get used to the norm, and it doesn't matter if it's San Diego or if it's Florida, or even guys in Texas with their Texas convention. We've lost so many true icons, and we're just going through a phase, and it's just is no different than in Europe as well. Some of the big names, these people are gone, and we just haven't given time to replace those people yet. And
Right.
that's across the board. That's across the board.
We have a question here. Ryan, is the Van Lars great middle distance or more long distance? They are 1 day long distance pigeons. They're going to do good in the greater middle distance, the long distance. A very natural pigeon. Check out our Van Laar video. You will see why the guy is a legend. You will see why certain guys, Serge Van Alsecker, Stefan Lambrechts, went for these pigeons to add them into their sprint or into their long distance pigeons because they are electric. Electro Fly Company says we are ready for the California Classic, 4 flights and electro loft. I guess they have birds in your race. Good. Brian says, see you Saturday with more birds, John. Royal Cup. So Brian, Brian's meeting you. I guess he's asking you, are you getting him breakfast or what?
Hey,
I'm
we've been
buying
there.
Brian breakfast.
Brian has been with me for probably the last 15 years, and he's just been a tremendous competitor. He's only getting better and better. He's flip flop as far as his wins from being in the California to where this last year he had one or two good ones, I think, in the Royal. And that's exciting because he's progressed. I mean, so much so that he had a bird that did well with me that he sent over to Florida, and then a few years back it won the Tony Malucci 600. So it's when results like that, that's when we know we're doing our homework. Another gentleman that did well this last year was a Cecil Romero. Same thing, a pigeon that flew well in California, and same sibling, or I think off of the pigeon that flew California. Also last year won the 600 in the GHC for Mikey Cortez. For when that happens, that's when we know that's when we're all excited.
You know, my dad always says, I mean, for me, out of all the pigeon men I've met, and I don't know why, but the greatest pigeon man for me I've ever met is my dad. Okay, I just think there's something about him. He didn't end up growing up in Belgium and racing there, but my dad has thoughts on things, and my dad always said, really good, great pigeons, they break easy. Really good, great pigeons figure out puzzles and figure out what you're getting them to do very easily. They buy in easily. They get it easily. And I'm sure you know a loft in Spring Hill, Florida, Gallo Loft.
Hmm.
He had a pigeon. He had a pigeon that he sent as a young bird to Chicago, the Chicago area, and flew a band race, or you know what I mean. Sent birds out, and they flew multi club or multi loft race, and the bird scored, I think, in the race in the top 50. Like, it was a good result. It wasn't a winning result, but it was there. And he turned around and sent the bird to the $1 million race. And the bird turned out to be outstanding. What's your thoughts on something like that? Like, that's a very, I call it a kamikaze, outside the box. Let's throw a bit of money away, or good pigeon away. Let's try it. What do you think of something like that?
Well, I mean, if a pigeon's always, hey, those that have had winners, the winners don't necessarily always breed the winners. Um, Siblings will breed the winners, or children will breed the winners, and that's what you're looking for, is a line of pigeons. But probably in a situation where Manny was, he probably saw that the bird had a lot of heart, knowing the conditions that the bird raced in. Like, probably probably obviously he liked the pigeon to send it over there.
Right, but do you think that's like I'm saying to you, in your race, for instance, we can't send pigeons that have raced. We just can't do it. We're not going to have that opportunity. But do you think it's an advantage? Like, is send into Africa Pro or send into Victoria Falls or wherever. Do you think there's an advantage with taking your young birds, putting them on the road, getting them trained out 50, 60, 100 miles, then shipping them to these races? Do you think there's a benefit in that? John's busy tonight. It's busy tonight. What do you think, John? Do you think there's a benefit in doing law flying, road training, getting them out to a. We wait for John to come back. What do you think, John?
Back to the, as far as, say that again. So the pigeons.
So my question is, with your race, we can't law fly them and train them. I mean, for most of the races in America, guys in North America can't law fly and train and look. But when you're going out international races, you have an opportunity sometimes to do like Manny did and race the pigeon or train the pigeon out to 100 miles and then send it. Do you think there's a benefit, or is it a downfall?
I remember that was a big thing back when they had the South Africa race. The Germans were doing that. Um, you know, I don't know what to take of that. It's just like, there's word that in Pattaya, you've got the Middle Easterns getting bans earlier than the US and sending their birds earlier. And obviously they dominate the race. I think, to be honest, I think a lot has to do with the atmosphere, with the conditions of the molt. Yeah, if you have a pigeon, if you train hard, obviously the feathering could get dull, or it might stop the molts. Um, and then when you ship the bird over there, it might be behind in the molt. Is that favorable? No, but if the pigeon is molting, properly, I don't think that the more knowledge a bird can have, it's always a plus. But
So you're not. What I'm saying is, you're not against saying, "Hey, take those birds, put some work into them, see what you got, then send them." I'm not against it. I'm for it. I say, hey, if you're willing to do it, and the guy can break the birds, and the race can break the birds. Now we all know the more birds, is it easier to break? when you have more birds?
Well, the more pigeons you have, yeah, I think so. It's also going to depend on the, the environment of the loft and how they're, the netting and all that stuff. That obviously, I mean, special pigeons come back. I mean, we've heard stories, right? A bird's on the property 24 hours and it gets out and it comes back. I mean, they blow your mind on those kind of conditions. Um,
Mm.
is it an advantage? I guess you could say it is. If a pigeon's already so many months old, it's already been through the stress. It's already been uh, all kinds of it's gone through young bird sicknesses and all that. Survived. I mean, and a fellow clubmates shipping pigeons that are just babies. Yeah, I think obviously the older pigeon that will have an advantage in
Well,
that
there you guys,
respect.
there you guys have it. And hey, it's a great question. It's the same thing, like we're talking, or like we see here. I see Africa Pro. I see Victoria Falls. They're now doing breeding lofts where John, we can have birds sent there, and they're going to breed for the races. Do you think it's a big difference? I mean, you are in California. You're getting guys from New York. You're getting all over the United States and Canada sending birds, and guys from all over do well. Do you think it's a big thing to breed them? Like, hey, let's send some birds down to Africa to breed in Africa and put them in a race. Do you think it's necessary?
Well, I think it gives the guys an edge. Birds get acclimate themselves over there. I think that that changes the whole scope of the race. I mean,
Okay.
I can't speak on their behalf of what it's business. I get it. They're trying to bring in numbers, but when you're in the United States and birds are coming out of Texas and birds are coming out of Oklahoma and Oregon and Arizona, we're all under the same boat. We're all going through the shipping process to get birds here. And that's the equal playing field then. If all of a sudden I've got pigeons coming out of my property, that's a no-no, you know?
So let me ask you then. I don't know how to say this. I'm not in an international one loft race. Like I'm going to use like Africa. No, let's use like the $1 million race because it's closed. It's done. Do you think that in that race, maybe the country hosting shouldn't have birds in?
Yeah, well, that's something you need to consider. Like you take Africa Pro, you look at the result. I mean, it's a phenomenal setup. I was in a syndicate over there, and the very first year, and we did well. But it was very difficult. The time of the year, they could say what they want to, but the molt was a big issue for the birds coming out of the U.S. Um, Everything was handled, as good as it can get, and it still is. But if you just have a handful of guys coming out of the states, right? Well, I shouldn't even say that. If you just look at the results, who's dominating the race? That's end of story.
Right. But that's something like, and I'm not knocking. Hey, Africans putting up these races, $1 million race, Victoria Falls, Africa Pro, and there's a lot of Africans participating. They love the sport. I'm happy for that. I'm not against it. But I'm gonna say to you the same way. Is it a fair ground? Uh, Almost should all the pigeons be there and get acclimated for an entire year to get everything organized? I don't know, but it sounds like, yeah, I know what you're saying. No, no, it is it is what it is.
I
It's
mean,
it's a tough
it's
nut to
like
crack.
it's like going here to San Diego years ago. Nobody flew east. Nobody, because it's not the most favorable conditions. Um, I mean, now there is an organization 100 miles north of us that do fly east, but they don't dominate. These participants don't dominate down here. They've done okay. But that's what always made San Diego equal playing field, because for one, the course, you don't know if it's going to be fast, headwinds, crosswinds. So you have just a variety of pigeons from all over participating, and it's not, you don't have 400 birds coming out of our backyard, and when I say our backyard, right, coming out of our area to fly this. It's new to everybody, and that's what makes it interesting, or at least that's what it did.
Yeah, and overall, if you were to fly, let me ask you this question, because you've been flying the way you're flying for forever, and your combine flies a different way. If you were to switch it, you think it would be as good?
No, not for us. We've experienced it, right? We did it years ago. It didn't help. It didn't. I mean, a race is a race, but for us, the challenging deal of going east is, it's that's what's always made it. Yeah, the challenge. That's what's always made it really interesting.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I'll say through the years of you flying, and you see, you know as well as I do, the more pigeons that come home, the more people come back. But I've watched you play the game and have good days and bad days, or not bad days, good days and tough days. Good,
Absolutely.
you put the same work in. I know from start to finish what you're going to give my birds. And I say to people, take a look at what the loft manager is going to give you. He's going to leave it all out there on the line. There's not a lot of one loft races, and I'm on Wind Companion, and I'm looking. There's not a lot that leave it on the line. There's not a lot that pick a tough course when they can pick an easy course. Most of them pick easy courses because some guy said on one of my shows, I talk about a pyramid scam. Yeah, 100%. The easier the course, you come back. John, you're not picking. This course isn't the most favorable. This is a ground 'em and pound 'em course. You have good days and bad days.
Well, it's just like the rules of the game. If you start changing things and second guessing yourself, then how good is it? You have to stick with it, and you roll with it. I always refer back to like the Super Bowl. If it was going to be, if you always knew what team was going to win, and it was always going to be a high score game or a low score game, what fun is it? It's exciting. The unknown is what makes it exciting, and that's what that's what our course has done for us for all these years. I mean, now mind you, there certain weather patterns, and at least in the old days, if we knew it was a tougher day, the guy with the tougher pigeons was going to be on top, or it was going to be a fast day with crosswinds. We knew who we had an idea who was going to be on top. Nowadays, it's just it's unpredictable. We don't know anymore. We really, I mean, at least for us, the way the wind patterns have changed, it's it can be upside down, and it has been like that. But that's what makes it exciting, and that's what makes it fair for everybody. And I think that's why the race for me has always been so successful over the years, because you get an unknown that wins, and you do, and then the following year you could get a guy that's advertising left and right, and people know who he is. But I will say what's interesting is that if there's a breeder who is on a roll for the year, if he does well with me, or he does well, I should say, in any of the San Diego races, but I know on my past, they seem to score again. And is it because what they've done in their breeding loft? Is it sometimes it is out of the same pair? I mean, that's where it's exciting. You take this, this last year, Gary Wartick, new to the game, new to me. I met him years past in Texas. He participated. in the California with a small team. He realized it's tough, and I told him special pigeons come through. He was on the first drop. 2 weeks later, he flew the black and gold. Was the first bird out front. The pigeon was in the same family, and he made 100 grand. Boom. It just goes to show you. And there's a few other breeders that with the same type of results. And so sometimes we think it is the birds. It's also how these people manage their birds as well. And of course, there is a luck factor, but that's not luck. That's just you're on a roll for the year, and sometimes that's what you're looking for. It's like I said, going back to that gentleman Chuck Williamson years ago. He hit all the races. Every single one, and it was truly amazing.
And then how did you do the next year?
He was fair, but not like that particular year.
You know what? I had the same sort of thing. I did good in a couple races, and it's so funny. You can do great, and then you think, well, I'm going to double up or triple up or do this, and I'm going to make more. And then the next year, you completely bomb. And I think, and this is something I'm going to ask you. John, there are guys that say, I am not going to fly in my club. I'm not going to fly in my combine. I'm only going to fly one loft races. Do you think that's a smart move or
Well,
a negative
it's
move?
always, to me, the more you can race your pigeons, the better off you are to see what you got. I could understand that some people just get burnt out, on the disputes that happen in a club. I get it.
Mhm.
I've seen it, and I'm seeing it right now in my own club. People don't get along for whatever reasons, and so they join the one loft races, and but on a true gauge for your pigeons, you just it's good to be involved, not just to see what the birds are doing, but you to learn things about your pigeons or what you're learning about to improve. And
Mm.
that means, and that's that comes from how to take care of them, feeding wise, medication wise, and you apply that again to your setting up your breeders and stuff for the future.
Yeah, and you're testing your pigeons again with 100% what you know is going on. You're testing them. I've said to people, if you're not going to race in a club or a combine, have a late group of pigeons and make your own little one loft race at home. Give them a 3 race challenge. Loft fly them. Don't overtrain them, but put a bit of work in and play the game and study what's coming home for you. Take a look. You do 100, a 200, and a 300, and you do it in 3 weekends, and you've loft flown. You know, you just look at the birds that come up front and check your pairs out. Just take a look. It's going to help you. Now, I think 100% keep flying in the clubs and in the combines because you know what? You get to test your pigeons. Hey, ignore the guys at the club sometimes. It's just a lot of smoke and it's a lot of bullshit. That's one thing about club racing. It's hard. People are jealous. And another thing, John, I'll say this in club racing. There are guys that are retired or whatever, and they can put in the 40, 50, 60 hours a week to race pigeons. And there's a guy, he's got kids, he's got a wife, he's doing baseball, he's doing figure skating, you know what I'm saying? He can't put the time in. And you go to the club and it's a bit defeating. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think people get overworked in this. To just like stay in your lane, realize, hey, this guy, he's out here to win races. You're playing the game, but he's out here grounding and pounding, and there's a big difference. And getting back to it, I think though it's important to still test your pigeons in a club and in a combine, or if you don't have that, to set something up for your own birds. So you're testing them. The more testing, the better. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, and it's also good to stay with it because it's the future of the sport. the AU and the IF. I mean, there's people that put so much effort into all this stuff. Building clubhouses. I mean, we're in San Diego. We're very fortunate to have a clubhouse. FEC's. I mean, they got one of the nicest clubhouses in Southern California. So hopefully the memberships stays and they're part of, because it's a shame for people just to walk away from it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you are in an area where there's a club and a combine, and you've got it in your brain, all I want to do is fly one loft races. Send your teams to the one loft races. Whatever you have in reserve, play them how you want. If you don't want to be competitive, okay, but just test your birds coming home. It helps the clubs and the combines stay alive. Instead of saying, nope, I'm not doing it, I'm done, I'm walking away, you actually hurt the sport.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what?
Well,
My audience is quiet today. I don't know. What are you guys drooling? Come on,
they
guys,
heard
wake
that.
up.
They said that freaking dog over there was too
Ah,
annoying.
John, that dog. I don't know what we're gonna do, but the dog really put a crinkle into the show.
I get it.
Hey, it happens, John. Hey, look at these birds here at the Royal Cup. People are wondering, well, what are we looking at? Cup birds. How's the Royal Cup coming along? You got, I think, now around what, 180, almost 200 birds in the loft.
I think we're just over 2 right now today.
Okay, just over
And
two.
in the California is just over 5, I think, today, or pretty close to it.
Why is California more than Royal?
I think there's just a history, and some guys like, there are people that enjoy the three races, 3 prizes, and there's others that just they prefer getting the prizes towards the end. It's just structured different. There's just more history with the California. That's all really what it comes down to. On our end, on my end, it's all the same. It's the birds are trained, the birds are managed the same, birds are on the same truck. It's just a question of preference. That's all.
That's all. And so far, you're just over 2 here at the Royal Cup. We see the birds out, going out, in and out into the aviaries and settling aviaries. How's everybody looking overall? What's your, some years in pigeons, you say to yourself, or you might say to your wife, you say, "Man, the birds are just good. We're there." You just have a feeling. What's your feeling so far?
Just like I said a few weeks ago, with the warm, really warm temperatures that come in and cold. Yeah, I knew there was going to be a little bit of situations affecting pigeons across the board, not just here. I'm talking Southern California. Guys were racing, guys were shut down. Most of I think 95%, 98% of the people out there now, the birds are back on track. But, did it affect a few of my breeders? Absolutely. The rest of the group is on track, but that's just the way, with young pigeons, like I said, you're on guard all the time. I mean, things can change. I mean, you just have to be on top of it and observing and be with them. That's it. That's all you can do. So far, everything right now is they're spot on. Everybody's doing great. The Californians went out a few times already. The Royals are going to be going out here probably tomorrow, and that's it.
Hey,
Go to.
let me ask you, John, when you take the settling aviary off, you know, birds are coming in and everything's rolling, and you got that settling aviary on, and you say, okay, tomorrow I'm taking the aviary off. Is it a good day for you, a bad day for you, a nervous day for you, a day where you say, I just want to see what's in at the end of the day? What's your thought on
Oh, dude, you always get
it?
butterflies in your stomach. I mean, as soon as you move it, it never fails. There's always 10 of them that just peel off and go. I mean, it just never fails. And but I like to take, for example, like the California yesterday. they were hungry. They weren't fed. They should have been trapping in no problem. And no, they wanted to stay out. It's just, and then instead of a 2 hour, hour and a half to 2 hours, it turns into 4 hours
Yeah, pulling your
trapping.
hair out.
Yeah, that's young
Yeah.
pigeons. And you can't, it's a fine line. You can't keep that feed away too much. All that stuff, yeah, that's young pigeons.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. A gentleman's asking here, whatever happened to Herman's Bonnie pigeons? Herman's Bonnie pigeons, they are the Reds. Uh, oh, what's the name of the pigeon? I can't think of the name. We are going to have them this season at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. We didn't get them. They just didn't have the pigeons that we were looking for. We want to bring the right ones. Uh, so we just didn't have them. But Herman's Bonnie, real good pigeons. Very good friends with Brina Bergman's. Great pigeons. As the way, yeah, we're gonna see here. We've been watching the California Classic. This should come back on a reloop. If not, I will post it back up again, and you
This
guys
is
can
this
see
is
here.
this was royal.
Oh yeah, Royal. My apologies. My apologies. But two lofts on the same property, both face different directions. Is there a big difference?
Um, Surprisingly, yes, there is a difference with the way the pigeons act.
You think?
Which,
Well, believe it or not, though, like because you actually have two lofts, both different directions, and it'd be amazing to give you another two lofts with the opposite directions and just be able to play it. But what's the big difference? What do you think's the difference?
um, the Royal Cup acts more like a dark system. I mean, I've always said it. Those pigeons, and it's not so much the lighting or anything like that. Uh, it's just, yeah. When the pigeons are really fat, when the group acts as one. Doesn't matter if it's 500 birds, 800 birds, or 1,000. When they're flying strong, when they got a little bit of age on them, or I say a little bit of experience, they just totally act different. And California, you get some groups going, and you have one group that are pluggers. Just different system.
So,
Well, I shouldn't say different system. I should say just a different. It's just, and the same thing with, there's some breeders that do way better in the California versus others that do well in the Royal. But yet, there was a gentleman, Robert Burge. He killed it in both races this year.
so if you were building a one loft race, I don't know, doesn't matter where, anywhere in the world, anywhere, base the loft, north, south, east, or west. What uh what would you pick, John?
Preferably, I always like to, facing towards the east, just because
Towards the
that's where
east.
that's where the sun's rising early.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And you are right. California is east and Royal is west. Correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd still pick the east. Anywhere. You could restart this anywhere in the world, your loft's gonna face the east.
Well, that's because I've done it for so long. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just a preference of what I've always been used to, what I've always been told. And, it's just, yeah. I mean, when the sun's coming up early, it's good for the birds.
Hey guys,
But,
there.
but you take like the Royal, I mean, the sun's on the loft later in the day. So it's a trade off.
Uh, I I don't know. I sometimes I go left and right. I don't know if it really matters, but hey, everyone has their own opinion. I will say this: the consistency. Okay, in your race between Royal and California Classic, what do you find less losses, more losses, or more
They're about,
losses in training, more losses towards the end? Where do you find it in each of the lofts?
The it's interesting through the years. It's all the same. We all lose a certain percentage.
We're gonna wait for John to come back.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. No, it's the percentages are always the same in the beginning, and you go through the training. It always turns out to be the same. They're just California has more pigeons, but it's always relatively the same as far as on both sides the
All
loss.
right.
And
But
then
everything.
in the end, even going years back when Ron was around in the Triple Crown, when even when it was all said and done, after we flew all our races, the percentages, pigeon wise, what birds were left for different breeders, a lot of the same breeders.
Okay. This gets to the whole thing. How come? And John, I'm going to say this. Why are some guys always seeming to find a way at the top? Like you're like, oh, he's there again. He's there again. He's there again. Look, he's over there. He's over there. Why? What are they doing? What are they doing that regular guys aren't doing? Is it handling? Is
I,
it
you know,
pedigrees? What
I
is
mean,
it?
I'll just bring up a couple people that I know. To me, they're gifted on. They got. I always say it, they got good hands. One I already mentioned in the past, but older guys. I mean, you have Phil Robertson out of Texas. Um, he was in the chickens. He's in the horses, but his pigeons, the conformation was always a step above. And some of it is because he acquired super pigeons. Um, but he looked at things differently than what most guys look at. The next person is who I think is probably has been the best, Dwayne Gregg. A small loft, 6 to 10 pair of pigeons throughout the years. Now he's older and more or less retired, but he still participates. Even to this day, he moved off a lot of pigeons. They're the same. And the confirmation of what he looks for is way different than everybody else. When I get it, I mean, I could just, without a name on the box, I could tell it's a Dwayne Gregg bird just because he's looking at things that other guys do not look at. And his record speaks for himself. There was a time Dwayne, going back 7, 8 years ago, for a few years, he killed it. He killed it in every race he participated in. And his main family back then was like the Kalias, and then he acquired a Huber, a Leo Herman pigeon, then acquired a Johnny the Greek bird, and acquired a Rossi pigeon. But for whatever reason, he always made it to look the same all the time in his hands. Go figure.
Yeah, so he had a stock sent pigeon fingers to build the pigeon that when you got it, when you opened the box, you said, "Holy shit, this is a machine."
His pigeons were on the smaller side. They never big pigeons, not from Dwayne.
In early, not early, but mid 2000s, I had a one loft race there. We were doing three directions, and it was a lot of fun. And that I had Gene Timbrick. Man, he sent me pigeons. And I'm going to tell you, John, from start to finish, the pigeons never changed. They didn't even molt a feather. They molted, but it was like one at a time. But like you'd look and say, grab that pigeon, and Gene's bands had Gene on them. So you sort of knew. But you look, I'll grab that pigeon. Gene again. Well, my dad came in the loft a month later. Boy, that blue looks great. Grab it. That's Gene pigeon. Like it was, they were just, I found certain guys at different fingers.
Well, absolutely. I mean, going back then, that was 15 years ago. I mean, Gene had a certain clique of birds. Some of them back then were from Alex Beach, and Beach had good hands.
Mhm.
And they had, he was racing at the time. Gene was, and so he just had a better read on his birds.
You know, John, people ask me. I say when you handle pigeons, it's a 2 or 3 second rule. 1, 2, 3. But for a new guy, 2 or 3 seconds. If I don't know what I'm handling, and I try and tell people when you go out and you handle, first of all, in your area, every weekend, if there's a winner, go and handle it. Go and handle it. Look at the speeds. When the speeds are in the, 1200, 13, 1400, go handle those pigeons. Feel all different races. Go feel, go feel, go feel. Use your fingers. Feel the pigeons. Feel the difference. Some are big, some are deep, some are long, backs up, down. But the more you feel, you start to get pigeon fingers. And I will tell you, and I don't know, there's uh, exceptions to every rule. But I know at the end of this year's races, if we take your top 25 pigeons in each race, there are going to be some mouth-watering pigeons. They're just built the way God made them to be built. Perfect, buoyant, muscles, not too big, not too long, vents tucked up, tight, arms are tight, beautiful wing, nice snap to the wing, sharp looking eye. They'll have it. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's, in the top 30 or 40 pigeons, I mean, there are some dogs, but there's some superstars also that, I know like I mentioned before, for us and either California or Royal, they turn out to be really good breeders for these guys. And,
Yeah.
that's part of it. That's the game. That's what makes it exciting. That's why you fly a challenging course to find all that stuff. Because they're not all good. Believe you me.
Brian says that John has told me years ago, if a bird returns from his race, breed and send those again. That has worked for me, but I test new matings. Ah, we say it again and again, and you look at it, John. You look at results in Pattaya. You look at results in Kuwait, and isn't it nice? I mean, hey, here's the shit part, John. You can't fly you a race. You can't. But I know the type of guy you are because you're a real pigeon man. You love to see. It doesn't matter. When there's a result and you see California Classic, Royal Cup, you get a good feeling because you know what? You're behind those birds and those pedigrees,
Yeah, when it does happen, absolutely, it's a good feeling.
and you see it. You looked, you see it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've been, that's again, it's just like going back to the older man is 80 years old and he comes back to you and he says, you've given me so much happiness over the years, and you don't realize it until you sit back and you're just thinking about, man, I know this person 25 years already. Then it's a good feeling because
Yeah,
you know uh, those that are doing this a lifetime. Some of these gentlemen down like in the GHC, um, it's awesome. It's really something that's truly special for the sport and then for what we do. I mean, I'm always mentioning my good friend John Stevens over there in Florida. I mean, for what he's done for the sport, majority of the guys don't realize, but he's a game changer. And he's, I mean, I don't know how many guys, I mean, he's doing an AU race, coordinating, being part of. I mean, I think he's on his third one. It's phenomenal.
yeah, a lot of work. That's a people don't realize, and this is another thing, John. We talk about it. You are okay. I'm gonna say something as a participant. I set my birds. Birds are out in the aviary. Birds are out. I want to see results. I want to see inventory, 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 inventory. I want to see it. Give it to me. Give me inventory. And we can say another thing because we've talked about this, John. People, when you're sending your birds in, fill out the forms. Help the loft manager put everything into the system. Allocate the rings correctly. If it gets screwed up, it's not so easy to fix, is it, John?
Well, it's all time. You just, we always like to do it first, do it correctly the first time, and it just makes everything easier for everybody. Especially when you're doing the chips and you're working with these programs, nothing's bulletproof. So uh, you need the right information right from the get go.
Yeah, and guys, take your time to fill it out. Read what's on the form. Don't assume. Help, help. Just help out a little bit. Those little details help John, help anyone loft race, the Hoosier, Florida Pigeon Derby. It does not matter. It helps them get from A to B easier to get your results up to what you're looking for. Now,
Well, more so, I mean, I've always been a guy that's more been hands on, but when you start getting into the whole admin side and you do get bigger, like some of the bigger races, believe you me, the admin side has no clue about who you are with the birds, the name, and all that stuff. So that's where you do all that stuff to make it easier on them. And in return, everything goes off well.
no. You know what? Guys, take your time. Fill it out. Look. And if you're not sure, call. Send an email. Ask. But get your birds there the right way. Follow it. Put the color down. Put the ring number down. Put your name down. Phone number. Email. Help. Help. Michael Peevler, he is the man that says he has started racing his Old Birds team yet. John, are you racing Old Birds right now?
Yes.
How are you doing, John?
I had a 3 bird drop. I was 1-2 this last week.
God, he's already bragging. Son of a bitch.
Hey, no. Hey, I fly against a guy. I won't even mention his name, but he's top dog. He's one of the
Who?
best here in Southern
Who is he?
California.
Who is he?
Yes, I
Who
got.
is he?
We call him the Russian, Sam.
Oh, Sam the Russian. Okay, well, when I come back to San Diego, I want to meet this Sam the Russian.
Sam kills it. Sam is a true. If you got good pigeons, he knows you. He's after them, and he flies a big team of pigeons, and he's very competitive. And for many years, he does well, and that's the guy to beat.
I'm going to throw this question out. One loft racing or combine racing. First, we'll go the one loft way. Do I need to send you 65 pigeons to know? Can I send you a team of five? Can I send you a team? Is it big teams, small teams? What do you think, John?
Well,
What do you think?
you do what you can, what makes you happy, what you can afford. Um, that's what you do. In previous years, when there were so many more people involved here on the West Coast, I had a limit: 10 pigeons per breeder. Over time, people have gone, and other breeders wanted to, participate with more pigeons, and so I opened it. Everybody seems to be okay with it, and we go. I mean, David Kloss is a perfect example. He's played big for the last couple of years and is testing his pigeons. Now we have another person, West Lamons. He wants to get in bigger with more birds, or as many as he's done in the past. He's new. That's great because older guys know that the pigeons, like I said before, that they come off the course really turn out to be special. A person like Wes buying extremely expensive pigeons with a good paper behind them, but they got to be
Oh,
able to race.
well, I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw this. I'm going to give a dog a bone. And people will say to you, and they're watching this show right now, and they'll say closing. Dave puts a team under his wife's name, under his name. He said 20, 30, 40, 50. Correct? I've seen him do it in the Apple Cup. I see him do it here. I see him do it there. Now, hold on. There's no rules to say the man can't do it. I'm having a bit of fun, eh? Devil's advocate. This weekend, Big Andy. international one loft race. You know, right? Big race in Florida, man. 2,000 birds, 2,500 birds start. We're down to race three, whatever it is, 250 miles of fun in Florida. Speed drop to 1,200. Dave Clousing, right there on the first drop. Come on, guys. You all say the same thing. Oh, he put in 50. I'm looking right here. Clousing, two pigeons. He only sent two to the race. Hey, I think people do this. They throw stones. They do this. They do that. They don't look at the facts. I'm looking at guys. When I came down to visit you, John, you gave me a list of guys, and there were some good ones. And I picked a couple other guys, and their results bang bang bang. And you said to me, "Man, you found those guys too." Yes, there's different people don't do the research on the pigeon guys. And there are guys, they just have one loft sense. I think they do. Or fingers or breeders or what is it, John?
Well, some guys, a person like Dave is there to improve his breeding stock. He's not racing, and someone like me through the years, it's been tested time and time again. And like like I've always mentioned on my end, I mean, you're getting your bird back because that's the sport. I mean, that's for me. That's my, when a person does well and the feedback comes to me, that's rewarding. You can't put a dollar on that because that's something that goes in the books and you don't forget. And that's what I've always been taught. That's what's always made it special.
So do you think overall in one loft races or preference this way, that way, do you think all one loft races should give the birds back?
No, I think that, I mean, that's just me. That's something that we've always done here in San Diego. And because in the reality, without the breeders, you don't have a race. It's as simple as that. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm from a different time where you had to earn your breeders' respect or they didn't come back. And you just, I know on my behalf, I always like to get my bird back as well. But I get it. Some of it's the excitement for people to have these auctions, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just a question of preference, and it's a way sometimes when you look at some of these races that are selling birds. I mean, people keep an eye on it. They could pick up some really nice pigeons for a really fair price.
Yeah, true. True, true. No, I don't know. Like I'm on the fence sometimes. Sometimes I say, well, all the birds should be up for auction. Then it helps, it helps this way, it helps that way. But it does hurt, and I think it turns people off. And I get it. I remember, and this is something I'm going to ask. I remember being in San Diego. I don't know if it was in 2011. I think it was in 12 or 13. Ron put on a champions auction.
Yes.
What do you think of that? Guys that had won, like top dogs,
Oh, I think it's
had
great. I think it's good for people to have the opportunity to acquire a bird, and it's prestige by the breeder if he agrees to, offer a pigeon for someone to buy. I think it's great.
and we're on the show here on Wednesdays. John will be on. He's doing a great job, guys. World Cup, California Classic. Try the races out. Try them out. And hey, it's a destination. We're gonna call these three races the San Diego Triple Crown, the Royal Cup, the California Classic. It's like going to Disney World for Pigeon Men. It is. John's going to give you some type of Mickey Mouse ears. It is great. No, it's a great weekend of racing. I ask the people that watch, I ask the people that watch this show, do you guys want to buy an auction like that? Is that something that interests you? Or do you think these races should sell the top pigeons? And how many pigeons do you sell? What makes the top? People say, hey, John, Pigeons that finish your race 100, 150, 200, they're good pigeons. They're worth buying. They're worth trying.
Oh,
100%.
absolutely. Yeah.
And how, like, I look at your race and I say, well, the California Classic, whatever finishes should be auctioned. In my thought, I know you give them back. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do you put a cap on it?
I don't really read into it too much. You know, that's something if if the breeders that fly the race want to make that change, then I allow it. But at this point, you know, it's never. I think most of them, and maybe that's why I've been around for so long, they appreciate getting their bird back. Um, you know, it's one of those things where you do a race and you hope to be back the following year to do it again. And for me, I've done it for all these years, and you know, you try to improve and to make it better. And yeah, I mean, there's other ways, like you said, to have a breeders auction, which we've done the last few years, and it's been very successful. In fact, Eric Ellis, he had a top pigeon over there in Florida Derby this last year, bird that he acquired from Ken Christopher last year, and it or it's 2 years ago, and it bred him a big money winner in the Florida Derby this year. And so when you hear that, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, hey, it all works together. Uh, every race has different rules and people follow it. But I do think on this San Diego course, if guys can get these pigeons, I mean, and same thing, you put that champions auction together, and if people are again, it all comes down to the breeders being honest and putting those birds in. It is something great. I always say, people, if you're doing an auction, if you're a breeder and you're watching this, put your top quality in. It reflects. It totally reflects. Don't hold back. Don't say it's too nice. No, put it in. Hey, just my thought. John, we've been on here for an hour and 16 minutes. Our
Yeah,
audience
dude.
is a
Hours
bit
going.
quiet tonight. Your dog was loud, but the audience was quiet. Anything else before we wrap this up, guys? We do this week in, week out. Let's go. Let's get on the page here. Ask some questions. Anything else you wanted to say this evening?
No, I wish everyone a good weekend.
A good weekend. You're picking up birds again this weekend?
Yeah, we down here in Southern California, we're expecting some rain, so but we'll still be there.
You'll still be there. Brian, you old Brian breakfast, eh?
Yeah, yeah, Brian, will do.
Well, yeah, well, hey, you own breakfast, but John, you're doing a great job. You've done a great job for years. And people, it's nice to say thank you. Remember that. It goes a long way. John, we're going to be on next Wednesday. I hope you'll come back. We're going to do some more filming, California Classic, Royal Cup, and hopefully this week we can get down to see Steve and Ahmad. We'll do a little touch in there if we can. Guys, these races are accepting birds. John, when are you done accepting?
June 15th is our cutoff.
June 15th is the cutoff, guys. You want to get into the best race in the United States. This is the one for you. I promise you. And if you finish it, take the birds home, breed them, try them in different races, send them back to California, or go international. And you know what? Magic will happen. Hey, John, we're going to wrap this one up, but good show tonight.
All right, bud.
Hey, thank you for your time, guys. That's John Timmerman, California Classic Royal Cup. He gets the job done, inch by inch, brick by brick, mile by mile. It's cliche, eh? It's a cliche sounding, but this man does it. And you want to go to the best race in the United States, Royal Cup, California Classic, do both of them. You'll see what I mean. Hey, John, I have to go now. Thanks for flying with me. Bye for now.
Thanks, bud. Bye.